morning from Knockhill. We made the long drive, about 7 hours up to Knockhill yesterday. Found ourselves a little lodge locally, so spent the night over there and got up this morning and made our way in. Track's quite green this morning, weather's not amazing. We've got through scrutineering and all set really, ready to go. It's been over a decade since I was here before, so I last ran a time attack round here 11 years ago. The car was white at that point and naturally aspirated, so quite a lot has changed in those 11 years, so it'll be really interesting to see just how much pace we've unlocked in that time of development. So yeah, not much else to say at the moment. We're through scrutineering, all set, about 10 minutes time to get out for session 1. Okay, so just in from warm-up, session 1 at Knockhill. I'd forgotten just how much I enjoyed Knockhill, what a technical and challenging circuit it is. Unlike anything else in the UK, I think, to be honest. The camber changes, the incline and decline are unbelievable, and it's got so much more bumpy than last time I was here. So car setup was completely wrong, to be honest. We were bedding in some new front tyres that we're going to use later on for final, so wasn't really pushing very hard, but the car was completely wrong. It felt light, floating about all over the place, wasn't much front end or rear end for that matter. So we are going to mess around with some compression settings. So we're going to soften the compression settings on the O-lings on the front and the back. Switch tyres back to the sets that I'm going to run throughout the day up until the final. And then it'll just be fuel and spanner check really. There's nothing else wrong with the car. We just need to try and soften everything off to make it more compliant for this circuit. I think being such a light car, it's just really floaty. You hit any of the curbs and it's up on 2 wheels really easily, and obviously your grip level halves. So that combined with the blue and white curbs, which are almost essential to take to get a quick lap time around here, was so slippy this morning. Whether that was just because I had new tyres with releasing agent on them still, or whether they were just slippy, I'm not really too sure. But yeah, I found it a tough lap, you know, quite intimidating, but we returned I think a 57.5 or 57.4 second lap, which is okay for the first time here in over a decade. So yeah, we're gonna dial the car in a little bit more specifically for Knockhill now, and hopefully unlock a decent portion of time later on, even on the older tyres. So looking forward to getting back out. Can't come quick enough, and yeah, we'll update you as soon as we're back from the next session.
It's quite cold, depending to earlier times of the season. Current track temperature is showing apparently it's just 10.2 degrees. It's an incredibly cold track out there at the moment by the looks of things. So it means that anyone that's out there, particularly on cars that were running or can run slick tyres, like in cars in this category, that's going to be key to try and get them up to temperature as best as possible. And again, a couple of times I've mentioned this, but I will mention again, in case anyone can hear me on track, is that they did stress in the driver briefing this morning is that don't go gung-ho to set your fastest time in the first couple of laps, because for some drivers this is their first ever experience of doing anything at Knockhill, having never driven here or even run anything competitively before. So for some of these drivers it's their first time seeing this circuit, so trying to set their fastest lap time straight away isn't going to help them in terms of an experience, but also as well, quite crucially, getting your tyres up to temperature is going to be absolutely massive, and to get them in the sweet spot of tyre temperature and pressure and whatever you've got underneath you, you really have to make the most of it and try and run well. So just a reminder again as well for Attack 1, they do score bonus points in this session. So as I said, it is 6 points for setting the fastest time in your class, 4 points for second quickest, and 2 for third quickest. I think the 3 to all drivers is for attack 2 rather than attack 1. I slightly misread that. As we see Suki, the taking his own Honda NSX. Great to have this car here this weekend. It's been setting lap records in this championship all the way through this season. And I'm certain another one is only there for the taking in class for Luke Sedjakowski, and he oversees it all at Tegucigalpa. So a reminder of where we were with points for each of the machinery. So a chance now for our drivers to again use this lap or two to just really start to get the tyre pressures back up, get the tyre temperatures back up, get the brakes back up to optimal range to get them ready to go for that fast lap once again. As you see, these will be the fastest cars that you will see all weekend. These cars running several hundred horsepower all the way through. And being such a short circuit, even there are only technically 12 cars in the group for this attack 1 session, it's going to be quite interesting to see how people deal with track space and traffic, because you will have cars quite quick, but different levels of quickness, if that makes sense. Some obviously are going to be faster than others, being in different classes, but it's how you cope with one of these cars like this that then gets you a quicker lap time later on, particularly with some of the faster cars, because you think you've got a quick car with the Club Pro class, for example, and then you see Luke Sedjakowski's NSX or Simon Norris's Evo coming up behind you, think, it's quick, but it's not that quick. And certainly these are cars that I'm certain are going to be relishing a circuit like this here at Knockhill, and they have been ever since they began testing yesterday. So as I said, we had our first kind of, I guess, in a way, couple of banker laps come in for those first couple of laps before the red flag came out for Russ Patton's accident at the chicane. So again, reference lap time wise for the fastest times in each class from warm up this morning. Simon Norris did a 48.994. He's not there yet. He did a 49.626 in the first part of this attack 1 session. Fastest time from warm up in pro class was Luke Sedjakowski, who is top, but he's top by about 0.4 of a second or so.
Just come back in from attack 1, session 2. Much better. Found my lines a lot smoother than that on that occasion. We did, however, run into a misfire fairly early on in the session. But luckily, Russ had a bit of an off and caused a red flag. So during the recovery of his car, we were able to whip the plugs out and put a fresh set of plugs in it, which cured the misfire. And I think instantly we found like 3 seconds. So we're still running on very worn set of Nankang AR1s, which we'd planned to do already when we got here, and then we'll change over to a new set for the final. So finding those kind of times from reducing compression settings front and rear and curing a misfire really, which wasn't evident in the first session, so it had just come on. Really happy with that. I think that takes us down to like a 55.1 now. So I think there's more in the car. There's a lot of time to be gained around here just from learning where to go slowly, which sounds crazy, but a lot of the entry speeds to corners need to be taken off so that you can get a lot of drive out onto the straights, and that's where you make up a lot of your time. So just need to be a bit more gentle going into a lot of the corners. I'm still a bit aggressive, carrying too much speed off the previous corner, and I think that will get us into the 54s, which I'll be really pleased with, to be honest. Still, obviously, with the engine turned down, we are struggling with the firepower of the other cars and the other competitors in class. But as always, we'll try our best and carry the speed and use the car's strengths to make a good lap time. So really looking forward to the next session. Nothing to do on the car now, so we're just waiting half an hour or so and we'll get out for attack 2.
The extra points on top, finishing first, second and third in class, and then anywhere else you get the mix as well. Car 13 also pushing on, that's the Peugeot 205 of Darren Spooner. And Spooner currently in the moment is 6th in class, 6th overall in terms of his class at the moment. He is right now 3rd in Club Pro behind Michael Osborne and Eric Holmes in their pair of Evos. Look at the results from Attack 1. I just noticed also that one car we don't have out, I know we do have him out there, is Simon Norris. I didn't see him at the top of the times, but he's only just popped out. And his banker lap is pretty much a 57.030. I'm certain he'll be up there a bit quicker. His best time in the session before was a 48.726, although Luke Sedzukovsky's done a 48.617, so I'm anticipating that Norris will probably do a better time if he's got some clear track around him. Some things stay the same in time attack, some things do change. You can see that the time attack is still all about building the fastest car possible and finding the fastest lap time possible.
Just in from Attack 2, another really good session, ran full time, just trying to iron out some of the areas where I don't think I'm particularly strong. Car could do with a bit more power, if I'm honest, just getting outgunned massively on the straights by everything else, which is kind of frustrating, and no matter what I seem to do to be able to take some time back through the corners or in the riskier areas, it's not making a huge amount of difference. Lap times wise, I think we were like a 55.2 rather than a 55.1 that we did earlier, so it's there or thereabouts. Front tyres are pretty cooked now, we've ran on them for 3 or 4 years, so I just, excuses, but I don't think there's a great deal left in them. Not too despondent, car's mint, feels fantastic. It felt quick, but obviously the times aren't reflecting any improvement, which is a shame, but again, that's often the way it goes. So on to Super Attack now, which is the final. Made some changes, put the new tyres on for that. Couple of other little changes, put an extra string back in the wastegate for this one, just to see whether the horsepower is what's holding me back. Yeah, we'll see. We'll report back after the finals finish.
Track is green again, and yeah, everyone, like I say, everyone's going to be going straight out there. They obviously have their outlap, so they warm everything up on the outlap, and then obviously the cars at the front as well, they've got all that clear air, so they don't have to worry about who else is on the track and having to avoid anyone. So it's really advantageous when we restart the session to be out there at the front.
Certainly was, and Luke Sedzukovsky in Suki was right at the front of the queue to bring her out to make his Super Attack. So, as you mentioned, this is the fastest cars that you'll see all weekend, and have seen all weekend. Club Pro, Pro and Pro Extreme. This is the only class, fun fact, where you actually require to pass an ART test and have a racing licence. There is the rest of the classes that are out there, which is Club 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive, and the Classic and Retro, Pocket Rockets and the Clubman category. Fun fact, you don't need a racing licence, but you do need one for these ones because these cars do run slicks, they'll run roll cages, proper race. These are technically proper full-on racing cars, like, for example, this track special, of course, the Honda NSX, and the K620R and other cars like Simon Norris's Evo. They're proper purpose-built track weapons, so these cars do need someone who can actually has got the racing license to do so, and even then I think it's not as simple as getting an interclub license. You need to have some kind of experience to handle a car like this.
Back in from Super Attack, final session here today at Knockhill. Not at all what we'd expected or what I wanted, to be honest. Started off with a red flag. Sadly, Eric Holmes lost his engine, so put oil all over the track, which was red flagged. So came back into pit lane, waited for the oil to be mopped up and Eric's car to be recovered. And then unfortunately got caught up behind Andrew Gallic, who was warming his slicks while I wanted to be out on a hot lap on my treaded, so that didn't really work. And then the heavens opened and it started raining. So no one's going any faster once that happens. There's oil and it's wet. So just came into pit lane and that was it. A couple of laps, nothing to report. I don't even know what the time was. But there's no point pushing a car around a track that's not going to go fast. It defeats the point completely of what we're here for. So yeah, really rubbish end of the day, but still enjoyed the circuit, enjoyed the experience. Track is absolutely mega. It's like one big roller coaster ride. It's phenomenal. So thoroughly enjoyed our time here. Just didn't end quite the way we wanted. But we roll on to Snetterton in a month or so's time to wrap up the championship.